I am LaMarsha Lewis. Let's talk. Today is Monday, March the 29th, 2021. We will be doing commentary about what took place on Thursday, March the 25th, 2021 in the state of Georgia. I'm sure you have probably seen this story trending on various social media, on the news. You can always Google, like I said, but this is a matter that took place with a state representative for the state of Georgia. Her name is Park Cannon. She was arrested by police in the state of Georgia. What was going on? Georgia's governor, Brian Kemp, was signing a new law which he's putting into place for the state of Georgia, which is basically being voter suppression. Miss Cannon, again, a state representative, was trying to basically just go in to see the governor sign this bill. It was stated, or has been stated, that he was signing the bill in private. She is a state representative, so wanting to speak at work on the behalf of her constituents. She simply was trying to get into the room where the governor was signing a bill, and like they said, this affect her constituents. She was concerned. She has a job to do, and therefore she was just simply wanting to be in the room. She knocked on the door. I was told by one of the policemen that was standing at the door. I'm not really sure, but I am going to play a clip of a video. I don't know exactly what all he said. And I heard like the person in the video said, well, what do you mean? You got one more time, something to that effect. Again, I'm going to play the clip of the video. So she knocks on the door. The state police basically takes her hand, puts it behind her back. Then another police also comes in. They put her hands behind the back, and she's arrested. So first, now let's just listen to the clip. Then I'm going to come back with some more commentary. And this is from Twitter. I'm just going to read what was tweeted. It says, "Why are you arresting her?" This Facebook Live video it's from at T. Where Stevens shows the moment authorities detained State Representative Park Cannon as Governor Kemp was behind those doors signing elections restrictions into law. Hashtag Georgia Poll. I guess that's supposed to mean Georgia Police. But let's listen to this clip.
Why does she have to step back? The governor is signing a bill that affects all Georgians. Why is he doing it in private? And why is he trying to keep elected officials who are representing us out of the process? Exactly. Yeah, you said you give her one more time, like you're going to do something. Are you serious? No, you are not. Represent. She's not under arrest. What is for what? Under arrest for what? For trying to see something that our governor is doing? Our governor is signing a bill that affects all Georgians, and you're going to arrest an elected representative. Why does the governor have more power than a representative? Why are you arresting her? That's what I'm asking. Stop arresting her. Why are you arresting her? Cite the violation. Cite the code. What is she in violation of? I want you to cite the code. Cite the code. Cite it. Why don't you cite the code? Cite the code. Cite the code. Why are you arresting her? Under what? Under what? Under what law are you arresting her? Why are you arresting her? Why are you arresting her? Tell us now. Why are you arresting her? Cite it. Give me a reason why you are arresting her.
And that was a 1 minute and 56 second clip, and according to this Twitter post, it said this was a Facebook Live, and as you saw, there was some messages in there. So basically, people were commenting at the time they were watching the Facebook Live. You heard several times the person that was recording this video, this clip, cite the code while you're arresting her. She's speaking for her constituents. She's for the citizens of Georgia, for what their governor was doing. It's really unreal. A state representative, but yet, let's keep in mind, January the 6th, 2021 of this year, an insurrection took place at our nation's capital at the incitement of the 45th former president. All those domestic terrorists basically walked out of our nation's capital as if they had just finished a tour. But yet you want to drag out a woman who is a state representative because she was simply knocking on the door, wanting to see the governor and maybe ask some questions, concerns regarding what he was doing with signing that new law into place. She is a representative for people, citizens, residents of Georgia, a state representative. But yet, this woman, you saw how they basically dragged her out. She did nothing wrong. I heard, like I said, the person that was in the video constantly asked, cite the code. Why are you arrested? They wouldn't even open their mouths other than get out the way, things like that. And from my understanding, the governor the governor Brian Kemp, he's been quiet in regards to this. He could have spoken out and told those people, well, this was uncalled for. We need to not do this. And it's being reported. Miss Cannon's attorney name is Gerald Gregg. He did a interview with Don Lemon on CNN where he said they are planning to fight these charges, this allegation that has been brought up. She is currently facing 2 felony charges. Her attorney has stated that she could possibly face up to 8 years in prison. Again, this is from her attorney. He did Gerald Gregg. He did an interview with CNN Don Lemon. I'm not understanding this. Miss Park Cannon was knocking on her door, and she was not knocking aggressively. She wasn't banging. That's banging. You see, I'm banging so much that it's even causing my iPad to slip down. But she knocked on the door. She simply knocked on the door, and that white police officer, I guess he's a state police, being how most rude policemen can be, use their authority, their power, and arrested Miss Cannon. And now, because of this, she basically has a record. This is a black woman serving as a state representative. And from my understanding, she's been a very vocal, very active in her community as a public servant. And she, again, doing her job for what she was elected to do, speaking on the behalf of her constituents for the state of Georgia. See, this is the issue. Georgia lost 2 Senate seats. 2 Republican Senate seats was fulfilled with now 2 Democrat senators. One being Pastor Raphael Warnock. Pastor Senator Raphael Warnock is Miss Cannon's pastor. He pastors at Ebenezer Baptist Church there in Atlanta. And he said he did go and see her and spoke with her and things of that matter. I saw in a clip where he had spoken with some reporters and all of that. And I'll go back and see if I can find that clip. Like I said, that's one of his church members. Then John Ossoff also is the newly elected Democrat senator. And this is why the governor is signing all of these voter suppression into law. It's because in record number, black people, African American, people of color went to the polls. They made their voices heard, and they made their votes count at the ballot box. And this is why you have a Republican governor and many Republicans in the state of Georgia, along with being racist people, many of them white Caucasian people, because they are mad that they lost 2 Senate seats. And let's keep in mind that former guy that many of them supported, 45, the one that incited an insurrection and that Republicans refused to hold him accountable, gave him another acquittal. He had the big lie going, and he continues to raid from. I've been hearing how he basically was at a wedding and went on a rant again about the election being stolen. Again, there was no evidence to support his claims, his lies, that the election was stolen or that we did not have a free and fair election. Trump simply lost. But he was telling people and voters in Georgia that the election was rigged and they shouldn't go and vote and all of this. That is a part of the reason why the Republicans lost. But what really is the case, we know Stacey Abrams was a very prominent person in getting voter registration, many people to register and vote. And once being registered, they went to the polls, they made their voices heard, they made their votes count. And as a result, 2 Democratic senators, with Pastor Raphael Warnock being the first black African American senator for the state of Georgia. Huge. And now, again, these Republicans in Georgia are basically just having a hissy fit because they lost. And now they don't even want voters to be able to get a bottle of water or have something to eat, say maybe like crackers or nabs, if they, in the event where there are long lines. And just think, many people suffer from like diabetes. They must make sure they have something to eat. Tell me, where's the crime of somebody getting some water or maybe having a pack of nuts or a snack or something to that effect? Where is the crime? There isn't, other than they are trying to go back to Jim Crow, trying to go back to voter suppression, trying to suppress people of color. This is what this is about. And because of this, a woman now, like I said, has a record, faces 2 felony charges, possibly up to 8 years of prison. Complete BS. And like I said, an insurrection took place and at the assignment of the President of the United States, took place at our nation's capital, and they gave him a pass. But then you arrest a woman for simply knocking on the door? And why did he have to do it in private? Again, because they know what they're doing. Voter suppression. And I want to say to every citizen in the state of Georgia, 1, thank you for what you did at the polls for the 2020 election that got us 2 Democratic senators. Also, please don't be intimidated by what's going on, because you see what you can do as a people. You all make the difference. Residents, citizens, African Americans, people of color in the state of Georgia, you all made the difference. And you also made the difference in electing now our president, Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, the people of Georgia, colored people, African Americans. You made it. So I don't ever want to hear what we as a people, and when I say we as a people, I'm talking to people that look like me, Black, African Americans, people of color. You can't tell me that we don't matter, because that was shown in the state of Georgia alone, and they mad about it. And now they want us to suppress you. Now they're trying to take you back. But guess what? We're not going back. We are not our ancestors where we're going to go yassa, yassa. No. I want you to continue to, whenever there is an election, whether it's on the local level, but just in your state alone, or in prominent areas of like the president, like electing your senators, representatives, and all of this. Continue to go to the poll and make your voice heard. If you have to stay in long lines, do it. Because you see, it matters and it counts. If it didn't matter, if it didn't count, they wouldn't be trying to do what they're doing now. You wouldn't have a governor suppressing voter suppression into law. You matter. And I want we as a people to remember that. And I'm going to try and see if I can find the clip where Senator Warnock has spoken. He gave a very good interview. Let me see. If I can find that. He did an interview with Dana Bash. I believe that was Sunday. Yeah, yesterday. Let's listen.
Certainly it is ramped up with this bill. Unfortunately, Georgia has a long history of voter suppression. And when I say a long history, I mean in recent years. And certainly it is ramped up with this bill that he signed into law the other night, as you pointed out, in the presence of all white men. And on the other side was a state legislator elected by her people to represent them. And she was lightly knocking on the door.
Right, lightly.
And was arrested and charged with 2 felonies. Georgia needs to understand, that is, those in the state legislature, the governor, that it wasn't just this state legislator who's a member of my church, and I went to see about her that night. She's not the only one knocking at that door. The people are knocking at the door of their democracy, and they will not be denied. They're raising their voices. I'm going to do everything I can to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the For the People Act so that we can expand our democracy rather than contract it. The governor is taking us back. We intend to go forward.
And I want to ask about that legislation in a moment. But first, you are the first Black man from Georgia and the first Black Democrat from a former Confederate state ever elected to the U.S. Senate. You have to run again next year to keep your seat. Do you think this law restricting voting rights in your state is a backlash to your election specifically?
Well, I am very clear that this is not about me. This is really about preserving the voices of the people and their democracy. And I honestly think, Dana, that politicians focused on their own political ambition is what's gotten us here in the first place. Yeah. You have legislators who are running scared. And so rather than having the people select their politicians, the politicians are trying to cherry pick their voters. Mm-hmm. This is an assault on the covenant that we have with one another as an American people, and it's my job to protect it.
And I understand what you mean. I guess maybe the question isn't about you personally, but about what you represent.
Oh, I think, we've seen this over the history of our country. Our democracy expands and it contracts. We have this amazing idea, when you think about the long march of human history, this experiment in self-government, one person, one vote. And it was stated in the charter documents of our nation, but we've always had to fight for it. When Jefferson offered up those ideals that all men are created equal, I guess he meant all men because women weren't included. People of color, black people have had to fight for their vote. And honestly, it is disconcerting that here we are again, fighting for what's basic. But we will not be worn down. We intend to stand up to this moment. And I think it's important that people understand that while race certainly is a part of this equation, and young people and others are being marginalized, at the end of the day, this is about our democracy. This is about the covenant we have with one another as an American people. We have big arguments in our country about the direction, about the things that we need to do. But at the end of the day, the four most powerful words in a democracy are the people have spoken. And we cannot allow politicians to silence the people, crowd them out of their own democracy.
Now, I completely agree with Reverend Warnock. The people have spoken. I mean, that's the people have spoken, and he said it. He said it correctly. The people have spoken, and that's why, again, to the citizens of Georgia, do not be intimidated when it's time to go back. As Dana pointed out, that he would have to run again, and he's gonna need you to send him back to DC to be your representative, your voice, your senator, because you see what is going on. This country was founded on racism, and now they're trying to do everything they can to stop you from voting, stop you from exercising your right to vote. Let's see, I'm trying to find another video. Let's see if I can find it. That's not it. Listen to this. This is at the rest. I'm trying to find, let me see, I think this is it. Yeah, okay.
Today is a very sad day for the state of Georgia. I am Park Cannon's pastor. I know her. She's a very intelligent woman and a very dignified and committed public servant. And what we have witnessed today is a desperate attempt to lock out and squeeze the people out of their own democracy. And in this effort, in this case, they're literally being locked down. The people are being locked down and locked out of their own democracy. Yes. But this effort to silence the voices of Georgians who stood up in a historic election in November and January will not stand. And so we stand with the people of Georgia. The goal of voter suppression is to so demoralize the electorate that people don't even bother to try. But that will not happen. We are going to take this fight to give the people their voices back from the red clay hills of Georgia, all the way back, all the way to the United States Senate. we're not going to let them take us back.
No.
Not at all.
And so we're grateful for those who are here in support of Representative Cannon. She is an outstanding public servant. We're praying for her. We're praying for her family. But we are praying also for Georgia and for the soul of our democracy. We are witnessing right now a kind of wrestling in the soul of Georgia. Will we go forward or will we go backwards? We will not allow a few politicians in their craven
That's right.
lust for power
That's right.
to take us back. The democracy doesn't belong to the politicians, it belongs to the people.
That's right.
Senator,
That's right.
succinctly, what makes this bill so unjust?
Oh, this bill is outrageous. First of all, by the admission of Georgia's own Secretary of State, there was no widespread fraud in this election. So they're trying to fix something that's not even broken. We should be making it easier for people to vote, not harder. And the people aren't asking for this. This is democracy in reverse. Rather than the people being able to choose their politicians, the politicians are trying to cherry pick their voters. And this desperate effort will not stand. We're going to take this fight all the way to the halls of Congress.
Were you allowed to speak with her inside? And if so, can you share with what she said?
Yeah, as I said, I've known Representative Cannon for years. She's my parishioner. She is understandably a bit shaken by what happened to her. She didn't deserve this.
She did not. Not at all.
And we'll continue to pray for her and to walk with her through this.
Senator Warnock, now that we've had the bill...
Who's asking me?
I'm sorry, this is George Cheesy. I'm with the Intercept.
All right.
With the passage and signing of the bill, should Georgians who oppose this be considering a boycott of Georgia businesses?
We need Georgia businesses to stand up in a moment like this. They too are citizens of this state. And I can tell you, as someone who is the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, where Dr. King served, that come Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, the corporate entities in this state will all be falling over themselves to honor Dr. King. If you want to honor Dr. King, stand up against voter suppression right now.
Does anybody else wish to speak?
Well, we just want everyone.
So that was Pastor Raphael Warnock speaking in regards to what took place with Representative Cannon. Again, she is one of his members, and it's simply the woman was knocking on the door trying to speak for her constituents. Why did he have to be in private? What did she do wrong? Like I said, the people or the person that was recording the video, cite the code. Why are you arresting her? I'm reading a tweet that Representative Park Cameron wrote. It says, "Hey everyone, thank you for your support. I've been released from jail. I am not the first Georgian to be arrested for fighting voter suppression. I love to say I'm the last, but we know this isn't true." And that's from the representative. And again, this happened on Thursday, March the 25th. She was released that night. Her pastor and her senator went to see her. I'm just saddened to know that she now faces 2 felony charges and subject to up to 8 years in prison for complete BS. And again, where domestic terrorists stormed our nation's capital, practically destroyed the place, left their own feces and just malicious stuff, ramshacked our offices. The man with his feet on the Speaker Nancy Pelosi's desk But they got, so far it's a free pass, and you arrested a woman just for knocking on a door. And as we saw in that video, she wasn't banging. She was simply knocking. But because abuse of power by that police officer, then they basically dragged her out. But God, I'm going to end this commentary with this. God is in control. God is in control. And at the end of the day, he always has the final say in all things. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. And when God be for you, doesn't matter who is against you. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Man tries, but God has the final say. To Representative Park Cannon, thank you. Keep your head up. Continue the fight, and know that you got many of your own constituents. You have your pastor, you have your senator, and so many people around the world is in this fight with you. Georgia, they are trying to intimidate you, but do not give up nor give in. I'm LaMarsha Lewis. Let's talk.